Before Rome and the legend of Romulus and Remus, a historical narrative. Prologue, the city that changed the world. Long before towering cathedrals rose across Europe, before kings ruled mighty kingdoms, before the English language even existed, there stood a city beside a muddy river in central Italy. At first it was little more than a cluster of huts built by shepherds and farmers. No one who looked upon it would have imagined that this humble settlement would one day become the capital of one of history's greatest empires. Rome was not born great. It did not possess rich gold mines like Egypt. It had no ancient pyramids. It was not as old as Babylon or as magnificent as Athens. Yet through determination, discipline, courage, and sometimes ruthless ambition, Rome transformed itself from a tiny village into the ruler of lands stretching from Britain to Egypt and from Spain to Syria. This is the story of that extraordinary journey. Some parts are wrapped in legend, passed down through generations before being written. Others are recorded by historians, soldiers, senators, and emperors themselves. Together, they form one of humanity's greatest stories. Our tale begins centuries before the city's founding. Chapter 1. Italy before Rome. More than 3,000 years ago, the Italian peninsula looked very different from today. Dense forests covered rolling hills. Wolves hunted through the woods. Brown bears roamed the mountains. Rivers flowed freely without bridges, while marshes spread across lowlands, buzzing with insects. The people who lived there belonged to many tribes. In the north lived mysterious people later known as the Etruscans. They built impressive towns, crafted beautiful jewelry, and buried their dead in elaborate tombs decorated with colorful paintings. Even today, archaeologists continue discovering their secrets. Farther south lived the Latins. The Latins were ordinary farmers and shepherds. Their villages were small, with houses built from wood, mud bricks, straw, and clay. Families grew wheat and barley, raised sheep, goats, pigs, and cattle, and worshiped spirits they believed lived within rivers, forests, mountains, and the sky. Life was difficult. Harvests sometimes failed. Storms destroyed crops. Disease struck without warning. Neighboring tribes often fought over grazing land and water. No one imagined these scattered villages would someday unite. The Italian peninsula itself was well suited for growth. Unlike Greece, whose rugged mountains divided people into isolated city-states, Italy possessed broad plains and fertile valleys. The Apennine Mountains ran like a backbone through the peninsula, but allowed movement from one side to the other. The climate was mild. Rain nourished fields. Olive trees thrived. Vineyards flourished. Ships sailing across the Mediterranean often stopped along Italy's shores, bringing traders from Greece, Phoenicia, Carthage, and beyond. Ideas traveled alongside goods. The alphabet arrived. Metalworking improved. Religious beliefs spread. Little by little, the people of Italy became connected to the wider world. Among the Latins stood 7 modest hills beside the river Tiber. The river served as both highway and barrier. Merchants crossed it. Fishermen cast their nets into its waters. Travelers rested there before continuing north or south. On one of these hills, families built simple circular huts. Nearby stood sacred groves where priests made offerings to unseen gods. This ordinary place would eventually become extraordinary. But before history begins, legend speaks. A prince named Aeneas. The Romans believed their story reached back even farther, to the ashes of Troy. According to legend, the mighty city of Troy fell after 10 years of war against the Greeks. Its walls burned, its temples collapsed, its people scattered. Among the survivors was a noble warrior named Aeneas. Unlike many heroes who sought only glory, Aeneas carried responsibility upon his shoulders. As flames consumed Troy, he lifted his elderly father, Anchises, onto his back. He took his young son, Ascanius, by the hand. Together they escaped into the darkness, while the city burned behind them. The Romans admired this image. Strength alone did not make a hero. Duty did. For years Aeneas wandered the seas. Storms drove his ships from course. Enemies attacked. Friends died. Many times hope nearly vanished. One famous story tells how he reached Carthage in North Africa. Its queen, Dido, welcomed him warmly. She fell deeply in love. Some versions say Aeneas loved her too. But the gods reminded him that destiny awaited elsewhere. He was not meant to remain. With heavy heart he sailed away. Dido watched from the shore as his ships disappeared into the horizon. Heartbroken, she took her own life. Later Roman writers claim this tragedy explained the future hatred between Rome and Carthage. Whether true or not, it